Hello! 5 ways to control the cancer chaos. Cancer survivor tips. Part of our series where I'm sharing with you and with myself, if I ever need it again, some tips and tricks that I've used along the way. So as you all know, I had a different video planned for today, but that got rearranged, part of the chaos, and I decided that this would be a useful video. So let me just establish. We know that cancer and most chronic illnesses are equal to chaos. We have no control over our body, the cancer that's growing, our reaction to the medication, our healing time from the medication, surgeries, etc. We also are in a situation as adults in this society where there's somebody else kind of in charge of us, all the way down to our very core, keeping us alive. And that's not usually the case, right? Our doctors, and the insurance company are making decisions on our behalf. For example, what chemo we're going to get, what medications, immunotherapies, steroids, etc. If we need surgery, when we need surgery, what type of diagnostics we need. Are they invasive or non-invasive? What the timeline is. And we've talked about this a lot before. But, you find out you have cancer and now it's a hurry up and wait game, right? Figure out exactly what type of cancer, what kind of chemo, get the approvals from the insurance company, yada, 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 right? The whole timeline. Like for me, I just want to get going and get it out of there. But that's not the way it works. So we have this whole chaos surrounding us, and that's difficult to live with. Particularly I think there are some people in the world that can live with that chaos. I am not one of them. So here are 5 ways that I can think of to not control the cancer chaos, because that's nearly impossible, but to control the cancer around us so we feel a bit better. So this first one, I think this is the only one that's directly impacts your treatment. Or not your treatment, but the control over what's going on for you, if that makes sense. And this one is to advocate, to make calls or messaging in the patient portal or emails to your doctor directly about your treatment. And I'm going to give you some very concrete examples. But number one, I want to preface this with, I'm a very firm believer in kindness, honey, not vinegar. So when you're on the phone, you're talking to an employee of the doctor's office or the doctor, they're at work, right? There's no reason. If you're nasty to them, they're less likely to help you out. So kindness, kindness, kindness. And beyond that, what's gained? I recognize I don't feel good, but making everyone around me not feel good, that doesn't help me at all. I want you to feel good so that you will help me. So that's my number one tip there. So let me start. So you all know that my plans got changed this week, and I now need to get my port removed. And to do that, I need that to be done in the hospital, in the interventional radiology department, IR. And tomorrow morning, if I don't get a call, it's been 2 or 3 business days since we established that I need to get this out, I'm going to give them a call. And I'm very pleasant. I'm going to identify myself and my doctor and explain that I need to get the port out, and I understand that the doctor had sent a prescription over to them. And then I put the ball in their court, right? Then there's going to be a minute where they ask for my birth date probably, and they look it up in their computer, and they decide, do they have the prescription even, right? Do they know who I am? Are they still working on something on their side? And they might say, oh, thanks, we were going to call you today, or nope, we don't have it, right? They're going to give me some status. Or they might say, we're going to call you later today. We make our appointments in the afternoon. That might happen. And I'm going to very graciously say thank you, and I'll talk to you later, and I'm going to hang up the phone for that case. If they say we don't have it, and then I'll be like, okay, would you like me to call my doctor's office and find out what's going on? And they'll be like, no, we'll contact them. Or they might say yes or no, and we'll work on that. And then I'm just trying to figure out some of the other examples. I'll basically ask, what are the next steps at this point? Is there anything I can do to help? And if they say no, then I'll be like, okay, when can I call back to find out the updated status? Can I call tomorrow? And most times they'll say yes, but if they say no, they might say, we know based on where it is right now, it's going to take us at least 2 days. Can you call on Wednesday? and I'll say yes, and I'll make myself a note to call on Wednesday, right? And that'll be that. But that's the way I would handle that. Another example would be if you feel that the doctor's office has some steps to do and you got the patient portal, rather than being that squeaky wheel that just is like, did you schedule my appointment? Did you schedule my appointment? Did you schedule my appointment? What I tend to do there in that case is share information with them. So my example here would be before this round of cancer treatment for this breast cancer started, I went in to see the doctor, and he gave me kind of a list of things I had to get done. I'm trying to think. I needed an echo. I needed blood work. I needed to get this port. I needed chemo education. I needed to get the chemo scheduled. I needed to work with the insurance billing folks in his office to make sure they had the information they needed to put through the request for my chemo, get authorizations, and get supplements if needed, all these kinds of things, right? Make sure that the office had the right pharmacy and all these kinds of, I had kind of a laundry list, but it wasn't really written down anywhere. There was no checkbox for me to go to let them know I had done things and so forth. So what I took upon myself to do over the course of maybe a week was I did all the things that were assigned to me. And I still hadn't heard from the office about scheduling the chemo education, and I hadn't heard about the chemo. And so what I did was I sent them a message. I'm like, look, I saw Dr. Fine. He asked me to get these things done. This is the current state of everything. And I told him what was scheduled, what was done, when things would get done, and so forth. And then I said, according to my list, the last two things on my list are the chemo education and scheduling chemo. I think that's on your court. Would you be able to help me accomplish that? And they responded probably within 2 or 3 hours by phone and scheduled both things and thanked me for sending them all that other data, because they don't have any other way to know that I did the other things that they needed to get done without me messaging them. So in that way, I was not a thorn in their side. I was actually helping. I was just a little prod, and they weren't upset at all because they got all this other information out of me. So I don't know if that helps in that example, but those are the ways that I can directly impact how my treatment, how my everything is going, by calling and messaging and trying to be helpful in that way. All right, so then the rest of my 4 methods, the number 2 is an indirect. So one idea is to create, and I guess on the indirect and even on the direct, we truly don't have any control over the chaos. The only thing we can do is make ourselves feel like we're more in control. And these are the way that I found that helped me. So number 2 is creating a routine. And that routine can be anything that works for you. Creating a to-do list, a to-do list, so you can see that you're accomplishing things. Doing certain things every day. Making your bed. Having a bedtime. Go to sleep every day at a certain time. Schedule your meals, or schedule or plan what's in your meals. For me personally, I struggle to eat breakfast sometimes. Lunch never, dinner always struggle. So make alternatives. I think I'll share in the video here, in the hydration video, about some ideas for supplementation, but meal supplements, protein shakes, soup, whatever the thing is. Some nutrition is better than no nutrition, especially when we're trying to heal our bodies. What else can we do? If you're working, schedule your work windows during times when you know you can handle it. Schedule, this one is the hardest, I think. Schedule me time. So for me personally, I feel like all this time I'm kind of laying around, relaxing, healing, where I can't get out of the recliner or laying on the couch or even in bed. That's me time. Because normally I wouldn't be doing that. I'd be zipping around and doing things. So that's me time. But that's not me time. That's your body healing time. So me time is when you're doing something that improves you as a person, or brings you joy, right? So that's me time. Now, that's not to say some people find joy in relaxing. So I'm not trying to diss you. If that's your thing, thumbs up. But that's not for me. So those are some ideas. But basically, number 2 is create a routine that you can that you have control over. Number 3 is volunteering. It's been well documented that when we help others, we're less focused on our issues. And so volunteering is one way to do that. Now, in-person volunteering might be problematic when you're sick or you have a compromised immune system, but you could donate goods. You could make goods for donation. You could organize. So one example for organizing might be if somebody in your community needs a food, I think they call it a food train, like if they need meals made for them. So you could be the one to organize that. Or you could provide virtual assistance. That's something I did. So sometimes when I was sick, I couldn't go into a warehouse full of over 120 kids, but I could offer virtual assistance through the computer for the people that needed it, right? So that's some ideas. Number 4, I didn't know what to call this, but number 4, excuse me, find or rediscover your happy activities. How is that? I don't know what else to call that. And some examples here are reading, nonfiction, if you want to learn, improve your brain, learn about something in particular. For example, I didn't read this, but I think I took like video classes, but when I had lymphoma, I learned about video editing. I did like quite a bit of learning on that. Fiction. For me, I like to get lost in somebody else's world, a world that somebody else has created. So reading. Journaling is important. You could document your experience. You can document your feelings. It's really good to get some of those thoughts and feelings out of your brain and onto the paper, because sometimes when you do that, they don't keep bothering you. And something I do is crafting. You all know I'm a crocheter. So fiber arts, I find it to be active meditation. I end up with a souvenir, something I made during this time, or a gift or a donation item. When I had lymphoma, I think I made 20 or 30 hats to donate. There are other crafting things you could do. Mosaics. I've seen online with other YouTubers who are going through cancer. Mosaics, pottery, sketching, photography. All the crafting, I think, actually everything in this section, these happy activities, there are several that you can take with you. So if you're waiting in the doctor's office, you're waiting for a call, you're waiting for your treatment in the chemo center, you feel happier and you get something done. Like you don't feel like you're wasting time while you're waiting. Some more ideas for happy activities. Something I'm just starting like this week, I'm investigating. Something is meditation. I've never been very good at it, but I've seen a lot of research on the brain impacts of meditation called Kirtan Kriya. It's a multisensory meditation. And I'm no expert. I'm still learning, and I'm really trying to get it. I'm not even to the point where I'm doing the full thing. I'm just trying to do it in small doses to learn the skills. But I'm working on it. Walking every day. Exercise, like a yoga. Sitting and standing from the chair or couch or your bed. Sit stands. Stretching. Exercising within your capability, but making note of it. So you can see improvement. Right? You can control that. I'll just caution you on exercise. You shouldn't increase your exercise more than 10% week over week to prevent injury. But in general, if I can do 10 sit stands today and I can do 10, do 10 all week, and then next week I can do 11 or 12, that's going to increase your your physical well-being, as an example. So those are some examples. I'm sure there are others. If you have any, you can share them down below. Happy activities. And number 5 from Gretchen Rubin, and probably the general, is something called reframing. And I'll kind of define that as find the thing or things you can do and then make it about that. And so I'll give you a very concrete example. This week, that my radiation plan, which was totally planned out, got delayed. And so I think you'll see in my video history here that really threw me for a loop for a little bit. That lack of the chaos really got into my noodle. And so how can I reframe that in a way that doesn't do that? So what I found was, okay, the radiation is delayed. It's creating more time for my body to heal and get stronger. So what can I do to heal and get stronger? What is in my control, right? And so here my ideas were consume more protein, sleep like it's my job, make sure that I'm getting enough sleep every day because that's when my body is healing, increase my exercise responsibly as we just talked about. So in that way, I'm reframing the delay from the radiation into something I can control. Does that make sense? So these are the 5 ways where I can try to control the chaos. And I'm not controlling the chaos of the cancer. I'm controlling the chaos, or I'm controlling my life as best I can within the chaos. All right. I hope this was helpful. If you have any other ideas, please share them down below, and I will see you the next time. Tomorrow's going to be a better day. Be well.